watching Where Are They Now with your host, Dianne Hart. Now here's Dianne.
Good evening. Welcome to Where Are They Now? I'm your host, Dianne Hart, and this evening I have the pleasure of interviewing an awesome, phenomenal woman. She's a producer, a songwriter, a Grammy-nominated singer, and she's the wife of the late, great Marcus Belgrave, Miss Joan Belgrave. Good evening. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you, and thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. So we're going to jump right in. Where are you from?
Michigan. I was born here. Born in Ann Arbor, just a little bit outside of Detroit. But I'm a Michigander. I spent a lot of time elsewhere, but I ended up coming back home.
What schools did you attend?
I went to University of Michigan. I went to a Pioneer. People ask that because they want to know, did you go to Cass Tech and all of that in Detroit? But since I didn't, it's kind of irrelevant.
That's all right. There are some people who would like to know, where did you go?
Oh, okay.
Their school.
Well, I studied in Ann Arbor, went to Pioneer High School. I studied, my very first vocal teacher was Dr. Willis Patterson from the University of Michigan classical voice department, classical music department. He's a tenor. And he saw that I got into Interlochen. And so I went to Interlochen and studied classical voice.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So now I know that you have written some music. Let's talk a little bit about some of the songs that you have written. Tell me a little bit about what it's like. Do you just go to bed and dream up these songs, or when are you most inspired?
No, not at all. I was talking to somebody yesterday about that. There are songwriters who, they like Smokey. Smokey and I were talking about this when he was here he was in Canada recently, and we were talking about songwriting, and he can just sit down and write a song. Somebody's like, I need a song for blah 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 blah, and he can sit down and write it. And there are people who do that. I am not one of them. I must be inspired. Something has to transpire in order for the song to come to me, So I write from my heart. I write about experiences. I write about life. I remember Stevie said once, well, how do you write? And he said, just write about life. And to me, that's the best thing to do. Instead of trying to write about stuff, just write about life. And what happens is usually the lyrics and the melody will come to me at once, and I will put them down. So, because they usually come together. Sometimes, the lyrics will come and then the melody later, but not usually. With me, it's usually they both come at the same time, and I'm trying to get them out before they leave, before I can get them down. I wrote a song back in 2008, I think it was, called Excitable. And that's the Grammy nominated project. And Marcus and I were having coffee outside on the waterfront. And I tell this story, so people who have seen me have heard this story. But we're sitting out on the coffee shop, and this is just an example of how I write. We're sitting out at the coffee shop outside. It's a beautiful sunny day, and he's got bread, and he's throwing bread crumbs out to the birds. Well, of course, the birds start flocking, right? And I look over at him and I said, babe, you know what? They're going to kick us out of here. Because you're really not supposed to be doing that. And, people are, getting irritated, and they're going to come out and kick us out. So he looks over at me and he says, he has this beautiful, deep, naturally grovelly Louis Armstrong voice. That was his natural voice. So he looks over at me and says, it's all right, baby. You just so excitable. It's going to be all right. And so he went back into the bathroom to wash his hands and stuff. And while he was gone, I used to have these 4x4 yellow Post-its that I used to keep in my purse, just to write notes, not necessarily for songs, but just notes. I'd keep a pen and yellow Post-its. And so by the time he got back, I had written this song called Excitable out. on the Post-its, right? And I was like, okay, we need to go home because, I got this song that I need to write down, but he wanted to drive up Jefferson. When you drive up Jefferson, it's beautiful. It's right on the water and it's, just gorgeous. And I'm like, no, baby, let me get home, get me to the piano because I need to get this song down so that I don't forget it. At the time, I didn't have an iPhone or a cell phone that you could, it was flip phones and all of that stuff, so that you could actually record. Now we've got voice recordings. So if something comes up, I can just sing it there. I don't have to worry about losing it, or it going away. And so we went home. I put the melody down. I wrote the lyrics down, everything. And then he added some chords to it. And that was our first collaboration. And it's called Excitable.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I work. It's like, experience. I wrote a song on the Oooo Boy project. That's the one that won the Detroit Music Awards that I guess you're going to play. One of the songs that I wrote on there is called I'm Not Going Anywhere. And a few years after Marcus died, I was just kind of broken, because I was used to him being on not only, because when you lose your partner, not just your husband, but the one that you work with every day, it's like a double whammy, right? So not hearing his trumpet voice behind me on stage or him saying, "Go on, baby," doing that kind of stuff. It was just difficult for me. And I found it hard to perform, and, everybody grieves the way they grieve. And so, but one night, late at night, I woke up and this song came to me and it was almost as if he was helping me write it. And the song said, the lyrics are, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. There's no need for you to doubt. Don't fear. I know your heart is full of pain and your tears fall like rain, but I'm not going anywhere."
Wow.
I'm not going anywhere. You see, you'll never see the last of me. There's so much more we have to do and love will see us through because I'm not going anywhere. Reach for the clouds, shout out loud, take my hand and make your stand because I'm not going anywhere. And the lyrics and the melody and all of that helped me, writing it, recording it, helped me understand that even though you lose someone, you never really lose them if you really love them and if they really loved you, because they will always be with me and always be with you. And you need to let yourself hear them in your voice. In your ear and in your heart and in your spirit. And if you can do that, then you understand that you have to keep going and that you will go on with them.
You're going to help a whole lot of people who have gone through something that you have experienced. And just you talking about it is really going to make a big difference to a lot of people who will see this show that I'm sure have encountered something, maybe not at the same level that you have, but have encountered losing somebody they really love that loved them. Just listening to you warms my heart to know that, wow, that's unbelievable. And yes, I truly do believe that he was helping you write that song. There's no way
without a doubt. I know without a doubt. It's almost like he woke me up, and like, what are you doing? This is what you do. Why are you not singing? Why are you not making music? Why are you not doing this? Yeah, I'm gone, baby, but I'm still here.
With you. That's a beautiful song.
God is good. I think I'm very blessed because God has put people in my life at the right time. He used to say to me, that because he was 19 years older than me, and when we met, I wasn't interested. I really wasn't. I was like, no. We can work together, but I'm not interested in nothing romantic because I have been through a situation where my singing and my producing caused problems in the relationship, and I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. I just wanted to focus on music, and that's it. And, but when you find somebody who not only supports what you do, but pushes you to do more, and to be better and to grow. And, it took a while for me to understand and to accept that he was different, that it was okay to open up and to let him in. But he used to say that I was an angel that came into his life at the right time, because when we met, I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. I walked into the club. I was a producer already. I was producing live shows. I had the series I was doing. So I was down there at Burt's Eastern Market to promote it, and I heard this guy play the horn. I'm like, that brother can blow. I'm like, okay, he can play a little bit, right? So I went up to him. I said, hey, I'm doing this series with Dr. Lonnie Smith, Tony Monaco. I'm bringing these B3 players in, and I was wondering if you could put a band together and open up the show for me. Now, here's the jazz master laureate of the city of Detroit. Okay, he's a funk brother. He played on all of these Motown Dancing in the Streets, Ooh Baby Baby. He was Marvin Gaye's musical director. I mean, Distant Lover, that's him playing trumpet. So, here's this man with all this experience. I had no idea. All I knew is that he could play. Right. And so he found that here was someone in me who didn't want anything from him. Right. I wasn't looking for him to advance my career. I wasn't looking for him to support me financially. I came with my own money, baby, So, I mean, and I think that because of that, he was very attracted to me, because I wasn't after him like everybody.
Right.
But I wasn't interested. So it took about a year of working together with him before I even let him take me out, so. But, I think that God puts people in your life that at the time that you need them, I mean, I didn't know I needed him, but I did. Right. So.
Hey, well, match made in heaven.
I think so. Awesome, I mean, I think he allowed my creativity to blossom because he didn't stifle me. A lot of times, quote unquote, powerful women, right. Well, I mean, it takes a special person to be with someone who knows what they want and knows how to get what they want. And, people say, it's hard to work for somebody who's already a boss. But I mean, if I had pants on, it wouldn't be no big deal. So what's the difference? The only difference is that I know what I'm doing.
And you have a skirt on instead of a pair of pants, but it's
exactly.
Okay.
I'm
absolutely.
Kind, that doesn't change. I'm a kind person. I think I'm God-fearing. I always do the right thing, and I think all of that helped. Now, as far as the songwriting, that I'm not going anywhere. And this isn't another thing. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2021, and I honestly had just kind of almost finished that project, but not really. And so I pushed myself to get it done and to get that particular song recorded. Right. Because I wanted my children to have it in case I didn't make it.
Okay. And look at you today.
That is amazing. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you a couple of questions. I know that you're an awesome songwriter. There's no question about that. But we're going to take a break and we're going to play Oooo Boy. And then when we come back on the other side, I want you to talk a little bit about what inspired that song and how it come about.
Let's take our time. The night is young, time to make you mine. Here we go, baby, do what you do. Tonight it's gonna be future. Don't let this moment pass us by. I said, boy, I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. Ooh, boy, you know that it would be so nice. Ooh, boy, let me take you to paradise. I said, ooh, boy, I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. Ooh, boy, it would be so nice. Let me take you to paradise. Your eyes met mine and the spark did fly. The start of fire, I can't show you why. Something special's about to brew. Tonight is gonna be me and you. Life is short, but love is sweet. Right now, baby, it's our time to meet. Come here, sugar, don't waste no time. Tonight I'm gonna make you mine, oh mine. I said, boy, I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. Ooh, boy, you know that it would be so nice. Ooh, boy, let me take you to paradise. I said, ooh, boy, I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. Ooh, boy. Let me take you to paradise. I see. I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. Ooh, boy, it would be so nice. Let me take you to paradise. I see you watching me, watching you. I said, ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do. It would be so nice.
Welcome back to Where Are They Now? I'm your host, Dianne Hart, and this evening I have the awesome pleasure of interviewing a phenomenal woman, you all. You hear her, Miss Joan Belgrave. So let's talk about that bad jam, Oooo Boy. How did that song come about?
Well, honestly, I was on stage and this guy was like standing in the back, and kind of checking me out on stage. And, women are sometimes, we know that somebody's watching, but we don't want them to know that we know they're watching. Right. So we kind of look, but we look the other way. And then, men maybe do it too. I don't know, but I know
they probably do.
For sure, women do that, And so this song came to me and, ooh, boy, I see you watching me, watching you. Ooh, boy, I like the way you do what you do, And that song it won. It was nominated. The video, I did a video at the Berry Gordy Mansion. Actually, you aren't going to believe this. I recorded that video. I had 18 months worth of treatments, cancer treatments. I had 26 infusions. Most people have about 8. Mm-hmm. I had 30 rounds of radiation and 2 surgeries. Now, when you get radiation, you have to stop taking the chemo for 3 weeks. So during the 3-week break, from taking the chemo, I went to the Berry Gordy's mansion and recorded that video for Oooo Boy. I have no idea how I was able to do that. I mean, when I look back at it and I realize how weak I was.
Yeah, right.
But it was one of those things. It's like when you have something to focus on other than all of the stuff that your body is going through, the nurses and all of that stuff, then it helps you get through it, And so, but Oooo Boy was up for Best Video at the Detroit Music Awards up against Lizzo. How did that happen?
Bye, Lizzo.
So I'm like, okay, if that's where y'all want to put it, that's fine. It didn't win the Best Video, but it did win Best Songwriter.
I'm certain you were happy to take that home.
Oh, absolutely. No, I was honored and thankful, Oh,
that's right. I know that's right. Tell me a little bit about some of the people who influenced you along the way. Did you start playing as a child? How early?
No. Well, when I was about 3 years old, my mother used to sing, Mama. Here she is right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my mama.
Yes.
She's got a microphone in her mouth. I don't know if you can see that. But her name was Joan. But she was so sassy, they called her Joanne.
Oh.
Because she used to like to sing the blues. So what she used to do is that when we were young in Ann Arbor it's funny because people in Detroit don't think that there are any Black people in there. When I met Marcus and I told him I was from Ann Arbor, he's like, there's Black people in Ann Arbor? What? And I'm like, yeah. But the thing is that the Black community in Ann Arbor is very close knit. And they don't go to the things that people that from Detroit that come up, like the stuff at the university, like Blind Pig and all. They don't do that, or they didn't do that. They might do it now. But when I was coming up, our entertainment was at people's houses. So each person, like on the weekend, we would go to one of my mom's friend's house. All the kids would go. They put us in another room and give us a record player. And then they would go and play cards and everybody did what they did, but there were no babysitters. The kids took care of each other. And my mother used to come and pull me out of the kids' room and put me on a soapbox thing and have me sing with her around people, around her friends. And so to me, it was just always something that I did.
Right. So you've always been a singer.
I think so. I mean, she made us go to church, to a Baptist church. And, I remember standing at the podium and I could barely see over the thing. Right. But I had the microphone and I was singing, in church. So I think that because I grew up singing, especially she made me sing in the church at choir, that everything I do, gospel comes out. So whether I'm doing R&B, whether I'm doing jazz, whether I'm doing classical, whatever it is that I'm singing, the gospel in me comes out. And that's just God in me.
That's right.
I call it, that's the God in me coming out.
That's right. No, absolutely nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you think was your most remembered performance that you've ever done that forever stays with you.
I think it was, I remember we went to the Hollywood Bowl and, being there with that many people, with Arturo Sandoval. Dr. John is the one who called us for the gig, and the Blind Boys of Alabama. And it was so funny because we were at the rehearsal the day before, and I walked across the room to Marcus, and one of I think it was Nicholas Pate, I don't remember who it was, one of the other players says, "Don't look now, Joan, but one of them blind boys is checking you out." Because he followed you going across the room. But I think that was probably most memorable. Also in Paris, Jazz de Villette, that was an amazing performance. And I think the performance that I did a few years ago in Barbados, I like that too, because I love Barbados.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the people who you have performed with.
Oh my goodness.
I know your list is long. We don't have to go through all of them, but tell us a little bit about
I don't know. You know, it's funny because, you know, I'm a, people say, who do you sing with? I'm like, I have a band. You know, like, what's the name of your group? The group is me.
Oh, that's right.
You know, so it's I usually headline. I'm sorry. Okay. I know it sounds crazy, but another memorable thing was when Aretha passed at Shane Park, and you know, they did a big thing for her, and I opened that tribute to her. That was an amazing experience. You know, Aretha Marcus toured with Aretha. And before she got big, when she was doing jazz, you know, before she signed with the R&B label, she was doing jazz, and Marcus was her trumpet player. And so that's how that relationship built. So, you know, even after he passed, she would call me in the middle of the night and what have you, you know. So to be able to, and I believe that was produced by Kern Brantley. Bassist Kern Brantley, who was a phenomenal bass player and producer and all of that. He tours with Lady Gaga and everybody, you know. So, but that was probably one of my favorite. I got to do some blues, you know. I sang Dr. Feelgood.
Oh, yes. Ma'am.
Yeah, baby. You know, so when you get to do something like that, and it's in honor of someone iconic like Aretha Franklin, to me, I think that probably was my favorite. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would think so. So let me ask you a couple other things. Do you have something that you're promoting right now?
Yeah, you know, I'm producing a film that's going to be out this year. It's a documentary on Marcus, and I'm really, really excited about that. We're in the very final editing stages, and you'll be hearing a lot about that because there's going to be a lot of marketing push on that. I have an amazing team. God had put the right team, because, you know, I always wanted the world to know how amazing Marcus was. People like musicians know, but I can go anywhere in the world, literally, and someone will come up to me who he has touched, or he helped, or he gave them contacts or something, and they hear my name, they go, "Oh, do you know Marcus Belgrave?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, and then they start telling me about all these wonderful things that he did, but the world doesn't know. And so my director is Tamashian Jones, and he is phenomenal. He actually has a film on Prime Video called A Mirror of Deception that is amazing. So I would, if you want to see the quality of film that's coming with the Marcus documentary, take a look at that film, because he was my director, and it is just top notch. I'm so excited. I'm really excited about that. I just released a gospel song called Just Have Faith in You. And basically that was after my treatments and stuff, you know, that, you know, I felt that my faith is what helped me through. And that, you know, God, if you just let me get through this, I'll let the world know, you know. You know, Black women get triple negative breast cancer at a 4% rate, but we die at a 40% rate. And the reason for that is that we don't get the care, the correct care that we need. I was blessed because the day after I got my biopsy confirming what it was, I got a call from a mega Motown star. The day after, now I know it wasn't nothing but God, right? And he was going to present Marcus's trumpet to the Smithsonian Institute. That's what he was calling about. But he heard something in my voice, and he said, "Joan, what's wrong?" You know, and I was like, you know, I was in shock, right? Because
of course,
I don't drink, you know, I eat right, I exercise. Right. I was swimming, you know, 40 laps 5 days a week. You know, I mean, I'm like, y'all got something wrong. That's not me, you know. But when I told him, he says, very calm, don't worry, I got you. And I'm like, what do you mean you got me? You got me? What are you talking about? The very next week, he flew me out to Los Angeles, to Santa Monica, California. Hooked me up with his doctors in Beverly Hills. His doctors put together a treatment plan for me because they know what they were doing. They weren't guessing. They didn't need to run any this and that and that. They knew exactly what I had. I mean, look, I saw the doctor and I felt like Michelle Obama. I saw the doctor at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 10:30, I was going to get this scan. At 1:30 in the afternoon, I had the result. You know, I mean, that kind of stuff just doesn't happen to quote unquote normal people. It should, you know,
right, I agree.
We should have level of healthcare that's the same for everybody, but that's not the case. So because of that, I was able to get the treatment plan that was phenomenal, and they were going to charge him $20,000 per treatment. Now, 26 infusions, that's over $500,000 because it was in California and my insurance wouldn't cover it because, you know, it's out of network, out of state. And he said, no problem, I got you. Over $500,000, right? And I'm all in shock with all of this.
Right.
His people are, you know, putting together. I mean, he paid for everything, you know, the hotel for me. I was out there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The hotel, the doctor's calls, the everything, transportation back and forth from the hotel to the hospital and his people looking for housing. They said I was going to have to be out there for a year for treatment, you know, and then my head is swimming through all this, right? I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Right.
Right.
And so I decided to come back to Michigan, and I had to come back to pack because I hadn't even taken anything, you know, really. I had my little dog. You know, I thought I was going to be there for a couple of days.
Right.
And my tumor grew from 1.6 centimeters. I found it. I mean, I get regular mammograms. Every 6 months I was getting a mammogram, but the problem was I wasn't getting a 3D mammogram. See, we don't know about that. If you get a 3D mammogram, it's going to show it sooner and you won't have to go through what I went through. My tumor in 4 weeks went from 1.6 centimeters to 5 centimeters.
Wow.
So it came on suddenly. It was very aggressive. It was growing rapidly and spreading rapidly. Had I not had somebody like that in my corner, you better believe I wouldn't be here today because I would be one of those statistics, one of those 40% who didn't make it. So I knew that God had a plan for me. I knew that God had something going on, that he's kept keeping me here for some reason. And maybe, just maybe, is to let one person hear my story and one person know that it's going to be okay, that you need to go get a 3D. And they say, oh, well, you know, the insurance won't pay for it. Okay, the insurance might not pay that extra $100, but guess what? One of my chemo bottles costs $4,000. One bottle.
Right.
Okay, so either you're going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it later.
Absolutely. I work with a group of women here in my city who have either had breast cancer, currently going through breast cancer, or they, you know, they're just suffering from the lack of an opportunity to get the health care that they need.
That's right.
Here in the legislature, I did file a bill to reduce the age for women to be able to get mammograms at an earlier age, because in Florida, I don't know what's happening in Detroit, but we're getting it so much earlier. 30s. Well,
I think that's across the country. That's not just Florida. It's across the country. It's happening at a
right,
rate.
Right.
You know, so and again, people think if they get a mammogram, they're fine. I was getting them every 6 months because I have fibrocystic breast. I have what you call, I have cysts. I've always been cysts.
Oh, do you? I have what's called dense breast. So
that's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I have to always ask for a sonogram whenever I go in for my mammogram every year. Because every time I would get one, it would always come back and say, oh, something's abnormal. So for 2 weeks, I'm suffering trying to figure out what in the world. Do I have something? I don't have something. And I got to wait for 2 weeks. So now
the waiting is the worst. The waiting is the worst.
Right now, while I'm here with my regular mammogram, you see it. Now, okay, let's do my sonogram because I can't go home and have that worry on my mind for 2 whole weeks while I wait for you all to figure out if you think you saw something, you didn't see something. Now I got to wait for an appointment. That alone is enough to drive.
I am going to do, I said I was going to do a blog or a podcast or something about just my journey, because it's like people don't know what they're getting into. It's like you don't understand how mentally traumatic it is. I had the chemo caused me to have a blood clot in my lungs. Okay. And I couldn't breathe. And I thought I was going to die because I couldn't breathe, And
yes, I do.
And had I not had a doctor who knew about that and immediately had me come in, and immediately put me on the blood thinner to get it moved.
Yeah.
It's all of these little things that if you I made a spreadsheet of the medications and the symptoms, what they caused, so that's just me,
That's okay, but that's something that
I made a spreadsheet so that okay, what are you giving me? You're giving me this, and it's going to cause what, so that when that happens, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like, okay, that's caused by this. Oh, that's caused by that. Okay, so I can't eat this. I can't do that. I can't blah blah blah. So I'm a very logical thinker. And I like to prevent fires instead of putting them out. I can put fires out.
I understand.
I can be a firefighter if I need to be, but
I'd rather not.
I prefer not to.
Right.
And so, I let my music speak for me. And so I wrote Have Faith in You. I wrote I'm Not Going Anywhere. I wrote Excitable. I wrote Oooo Boy. It's I think music and the arts in general, as we found during COVID, are very powerful, or more powerful than people realize they are. So I think that as artists, as creatives, we have to keep doing what we do, and not for the money, because I think a lot of people are in it for the money, but for what it does for you. I had somebody say, why do people sing? Why do people do that? Why don't they do something where I said, it's how it makes me feel. It's how it makes me feel. And the fact that somebody can come up to me and say that I helped them, that, that your song really helped me.
Right.
I had a guy tell me that my Excitable project is why his wife married him. That he took that whole album and played that album over Valentine's Day, and that whole album, because it's basically Excitable is a love song, a love letter to Marcus. Because it's a bunch of love songs, and because that's how I was feeling when I wrote. When that song came out, and he said, yeah, okay. His name is Ben Jaffe. He runs the Preservation Hall jazz band down in New Orleans. And he said, yeah, I played that. I played your album. And she said yes. All right.
That's right.
There we go.
What social media platforms can your fans find you on?
Joan Belgrave Music on Facebook. And Instagram is J Belgrave Jazz, and Threads, it's J Belgrave Jazz. And of course, my website, joanbelgrave.com. You can contact me there. I have a jazz radio show that I do every Monday on WJZZ from 5 to 8. Okay. I run 3 hours worth of solid jazz, and, it's a wonderful thing for me to be able to to play the music that I love, and to talk about the people that I know or knew.
Right.
You know, because there's a personal connection with a lot of the artists that I play, you know, I mean, so God is good. I think, again, you know, there's a reason that I'm still here. There's a reason that what happened in California didn't work out, you know, and I had to come back home, you know, to Michigan. Of course, it was traumatic for me. I've been out there for 30 years. I had 3 children out there. You know, I mean, my youngest son is a professor out there teaching. My daughter is an executive in New York for Peloton, and my youngest son is in Nashville, Tennessee. So, you know, I mean, I'm like, okay, but I'm comfortable being in Detroit now. You know,
you're home.
I'm home, and I'm, you know, and they're like, but Mom, you know, it snows, because they were born in Los Angeles, right? They're born in California. They don't understand. And people even here, they're like, wait a minute, you lived in California and you came back? I said, yeah, I came back because this is real.
That's right.
I've been around the I don't want to call them plastic, but there's a lot of plasticness out there.
I'm going to call them fakeness for you.
There's a lot of fakeness out there. And, you know, there's a lot, there's just so much, you know, and I mean, it is beautiful. I mean, I lived all over. I lived in Los Angeles. I lived on the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo, and I lived in the Bay Area. So I've been all over the state. So I know the state very well. I have friends all up and down the state. I mean, but I would never go back there and live, because this is real. You know, I mean, I love having the seasons change. You know, I love the fall and how beautiful it is. If there's something about the seasons changing that make you understand God and make you understand that it's going to be all right. No matter what's going on, the sun is going to come out again. You know,
that's
so just hang on through the winter. You know, yeah, we know it's cold, but, you know, go ahead and log on the fire, get you some long johns, you know, get you some hot chocolate or whatever it is that you need, and bubble for a couple months. And then, you know what? It's going to be spring.
Absolutely. I love
it. And you're going to be fine. And I think that's life.
Yeah,
you know,
it is. It is.
I think that's life. And I think that's why I love it so much.
Well, we're going to take another break because I have to play your next song, Dreaming of You. We got to take a break, and we will be right back.
Baby, been thinking about you all day. You. With your fine self. As the time goes by, I wonder why you're not here with me today. I can see your face, feel your warm embrace. How do you make me feel this way? You got me dreaming, ooh baby, every day. I'm dreaming of you. Just dreaming all the time, babe. I'm dreaming of you. If I told you how I felt inside, would it make you look my way? Just a glance from you sets my soul on fire. Could I ever hope that you'd stay every day, all day? I'm dreaming all the time, dreaming of you. I'm dreaming of you. Just dreaming. I'm get on. I can see those eyes, feel your arms. Can't stop thinking about you. Got your bath ready. Wine is chilled. Got your favorite meal all laid out. Hey, baby, just can't focus. Come on, Joan. Get your head back in the game. Thinking about strolling with me.
Welcome back to Where They Now. I'm your host, Dianne Hart, and tonight I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Miss Joan Belgrave. And what a bad jam, Dreaming of You. So let's talk a little bit what inspired that song.
Once again, I think that, I'm a romantic, and like most women are, I think. And, this song came because I was dreaming about being in love, and that's, I miss being in love. I love being in love.
I do too.
I absolutely love being in love. I mean, I'm at a different state in my life right now because everybody's grown. This is the first time in my life where I haven't had to take care of nobody but me. So that's a whole thing right there too, which is fabulous. But I think I wrote that because I love being in love. I met this producer. He was Aretha's producer. His name is Sanchez Harley, and he produced Aretha. He is the main producer for Shirley Caesar. And Sanchez and I collaborated, and he produced that project. And so I went to Nashville, Tennessee, because that's where he is. That's where he's based out. There's a lot of gospel and stuff happening in Nashville, Tennessee. And so the musicians on that project are all Nashville musicians, and they're musicians that he produced. Now, that was the very first time that I have been musically produced by someone else. I have always produced my own stuff. I managed a recording studio that Tony Bennett used to come to when I was in California. So I know my way around the studio, and I love it. I think it's absolutely fabulous. But this time I had to turn the reins over to somebody else.
Right.
And that was definitely a learning experience for me, a growing experience for me. Because, the R&B world, because that's where he lives, he lives in the R&B and the gospel world. He doesn't really live in the jazz world. We do things completely different. It's a whole different thing. They do things cut da 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 da, and in jazz we just kind of feel it and go through. Right. We just like, okay, here's the groove and let's get it done. Let's lay that track down. And a lot of times it's one take, right. And because that's the way it feels. But in the R&B world, and I guess in the gospel world, they're like meticulous. Every little thing just has to be perfect, not perfect, but looked at and analyzed. Right. It's but I was honored to have Sanchez Harley on the project, and because he's Grammy a winner. He's a multiple Grammy winning producer, and like I said, Shirley Caesar, Aretha, Yolanda Adams. So he knows how to do vocalists.
Right. So let me ask you this: if you could give some advice to any up and coming entertainer, singer, songwriter, what would that be? Let's drop a little nugget to them on what this music industry is really like.
I think number one is that they have to believe in themselves. They have to not give up and not be discouraged, because you will be told no many, many times. But don't, every door that closes, there's another one that opens. And you need to understand that. You need to understand that you're not always going to have what you need. I think that today people have this thing where they think they're supposed to be instantly famous, instantly this and instantly that. Well, I mean, you can do that, but all of that stuff that you go through builds who you are. I mean, my mom used to say, can't nobody sing no blues unless they've been through some heartache. I mean, you can sing it, but you can't sing it.
Right. You can't sing it. That's
you
right.
You can't sing it unless you done been through something, because all of that comes out in you. And so let life happen, I think. That's the thing. And don't push it. And don't try to be somewhere just because somebody else is doing something. Do you. Don't try to be. I have people tell me, I wish I could sing like you. I said, no, baby, look. God gave you something special to do. Find that, whatever that is, and focus on that. Whatever it is. So if you're a singer, then perfect it. Just like a mechanics, just like everybody else. You have to take time to sharpen your tool. You have to take time to learn how to be a public speaker. You have to take time and so there are no shortcuts in life if you want to have quality. Now you can, there's what they call dumbed down, they have those books, Computers for Dummies and for Dummies. They have a lot of that. Okay. Right. But if you really want to look at your stuff and be proud of what you did, and say, oh, okay, I did that. Then take the time to learn. Find somebody older who has lived, who has done whatever it is that you want to do, and just sit next to them and learn and listen. Don't talk, just listen. Let them drop those nuggets on you and take notes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's my,
well, you've certainly given them something to think about. And hey, I am with you. It just doesn't happen overnight. You have to sharpen your tools. You have to hone your craft. If you really want to be that person, that's exactly what you have to do.
Think Stevie Wonder been playing since he was 6 years old. Okay. He just turned 75 yesterday. He's a bad boy, but he's a bad boy because he took the time to learn every instrument, So
right.
That's what you have to do.
Yes, you do. So let me ask you one more thing. What do you think has just kept you in this space going on forever?
God.
You are a bad girl, for sure.
God, nothing but God. Honestly, nothing but God. I think that I, in my heart and in my soul, believe that in my darkest hours, God has pulled me through. And, I don't realize what I'm going through or the purpose of what I'm going through until you get through it. And then you look back and you say, oh, okay, that's what that was for, But while you're in it, you don't understand. And, I've never been a why me person. Why is this happening to me?
Right. Me either.
Yeah. But, I think that were it not for my faith, all of these years, I was married for 16 years. Okay. I was a good mother, a good wife. I was, school site count, principal, president, up at 4:30 in the morning, baking cookies for my kids so they could have fresh cookies in their lunch, and that fell apart. Right. I was absolutely devastated. It fell apart because I started singing. All right. But it fell apart so I could come back to Michigan and I could meet Marcus.
That's right.
Right. So you don't know what God has for you. Have faith to understand that there's something bigger in life than you.
That's right. Wow. Well, I hear that little music in my ear, but boy, time has really flown, but you are such a phenomenal woman. Listen, I believe that both men and women will get something from hearing your testimony and some of the things that you have endured. I'm much like you. I often say, why not me? Why not me? I can do this, so why not me? And hey, we all have something that we have to go through. It makes us a better person. If it doesn't make you a better person, then you have a real problem. It should make you a better person.
There's a reason. Just know that there's a reason. There's a reason behind everything. Everything that happens has a reason. So understand that. You don't know it yet, but you will. Just hang in there.
I certainly have appreciated you allowing me this opportunity to interview you this evening. I look forward to seeing you again. Detroit. I'm going to be in Detroit in about a week.
Okay. Well, on May 17th, on the 17th, I'm playing the Blue Llama Jazz Club. So I don't know if you're going to be in town then.
I don't get there until the 27th. I come on the 27th.
But, I got some stuff coming up this summer. I'm going to be doing some stuff for the Heidelberg Project. And yeah.
Yeah, right by Misty. I'll be in Detroit back and forth. I will certainly be there. So,
all right.
Again,
I was in Florida. I told you I was in Florida. I think it was in March.
I was in Tallahassee.
Chickens. Oh my God.
Where were you? In Ybor? You were in Ybor where the chickens were.
Something west. Was it Key West?
Oh, you were down in Key West. They have chickens too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is up with these chickens everywhere?
They own the place.
Wild chickens everywhere.
Right? And you can't kill them, nor you can't eat one.
It's against the law. I mean,
Same way here in Tampa. It's against the law for us to touch the chicken. If they're crossing the street, traffic stops and wait until all the chickens and the biddies cross the street.
Look, then if somebody got hungry enough, them chickens be on somebody's plate.
I tell you what, you go to jail if you do. But listen, you can watch Where Are They Now every Thursday night at 7:30 on Detroit Hot TV. Be sure to also listen to Detroit Hot Radio.
Absolutely.
We got to play some of your music.
They premiered my music. Detroit Hot Radio is what's up.
I know that's right. Also, please watch The Opening Statement. That's my show right here in Tampa Bay on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock, where I talk about politics and some other stuff. I also show you all's interviews right here on my Roku channel in the Tampa Bay area. So I'll let you know when you're showing on my show in Tampa. We'll also make sure you get the other video. Also, you all, please go out to my YouTube channel at Dianne Hart 2126. Like and subscribe, hit the bell, and every time I put up a new video, you'll get a notice. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Miss Joan Belgrave. Thank you again.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. This is Dianne Hart. Be sure to catch my shows as we interview politicians and special guests on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on The Opening Statement, the Lit TV network on Roku. Also, watch Where Are They Now as I interview entertainers of yesterday and today at 7:30 p.m. Detroit Hot TV on Facebook. Thank you.